I looked at different surgical programs, and this was the best one, so I applied. In those days, the great majority of the surgical house staff were from Harvard Medical School. That's not true anymore. And so I was one of the outsiders, but that was okay. See, in the interviews, for the internship interviews, people usually ask questions about history. A famous surgeon, do you know who that was? And when I applied, I said to myself, I don't understand that question, it's useless. Then when you get older, you suddenly decide that history is important. And so I've gotten quite interested in history, yes. Byzantine history, classical archaeology, Ottoman history, fin de siècle Vienna history. I met my wife here. She was the head nurse in neurosurgery. We've been married 45 years, and I suppose perhaps one of the reasons I stayed here was because I met her here.
When I first came here, it was only the White building, the Baker building, and the Bullfinch building, and the Phillip House. Going to hospital wasn't my idea because I always thought people die when they go to the hospital, but I'm glad I came here because I got to learn quite a bit. I really, really loved working on that emergency ward, and I missed it. I hated to go, but I wanted to see what radiation did and how they take care of people. Because when you hear about something, you go, how did they do that? And now I'm here and I'm seeing it and seeing it being done. I'm glad that I was able to do the work and make people proud, make their patients happy, and I really appreciate the people that has been that kind. There's some great nurses in this hospital, and they really know how to help you, show you, and teach you the right way.
Well, I graduated from Catherine Labouré School of Nursing, and the day after graduation, I came in and went into the Moseley Rotunda and applied for a position. And I chose Mass General mainly because it was, number one, a teaching hospital, and I knew I wanted a teaching hospital. And having worked in both settings, I just felt that the teaching hospitals offered the opportunity of giving you more support, having more things going on. You could learn constantly. And sometimes in those days, in the community hospitals, like as a student, I was assigned once to the emergency room in a community hospital as a student to cover by myself with no ED experience. And so it's just like I knew that I wanted to have some support from some peers, have an opportunity to grow and develop. I just came in, was hired on the spot. I could have started right then and there, but I asked if I could have the weekend off. And they said yes, so I came back on the Monday and started that Monday, had a week's orientation. I've spent more than half my life here. And there's something you're learning all the time. I mean, even now, even though I only work a few hours a week, there's something I learn all the time, and it's always changing and it's growing. And you don't realize, I think last year when we had the bicentennial and we looked at the timelines and the history, and I don't think when you're working here you realize how much a part of history you are, and I could relate to living through some of those times and thinking, wow.
This is a wonderful place. Academically, its quality of medical care, and again, the human atmosphere, the people. Nice is not a very elegant word, but people who work here are very nice, and they treat their co-workers very well, they treat their patients very well, and there's always been a long continuity. You'll see the same person in the same position as he or she was in, 10 years before. The attitude and the mission is really the same. We didn't talk about mission or mission statements in those days, but really the mission is the same as it was, and we mean it. And I don't like to think of the fact that I've been here 50 years because it means you're getting on there. But no, I'm very proud to have reached a 50-year milestone here at the Mass General and still be walking and talking.
I met Ann Prestopino in the nail salon in Charlestown where we both live. And she heard that I was interested in working in the hospital and called me because she was looking for an assistant. And I came over and interviewed, and she and Kate Walsh hired me. And I've been here ever since. It's more than what I expected, actually. The people are wonderful. Couldn't ask for a better facility to work in. It also took care of me, and I'm here because of that. So yeah, it's quite a place. I've toured the ORs, the old ORs, which was absolutely fascinating. I'm very fascinated with all of that. And it's just the innovation in itself. It's just to stand in one of those new operating rooms and imagine what goes on and how things get done. It's nice to be able to be a part of that, even if it is administrative and not clinical.
The character of the place has not changed. It's informal. It's a bit scruffy. People are often astounded how informal, unpretentious they find the place. There's remarkable flexibility. One has very little sense of boundaries between departments or even institutions. An MGH resident can do research at Children's, at the Faculty of Arts and Sciences at the MIT. As long as he shows up for clinic, his department chairman will do nothing more than applaud. This is a rather special issue where there's this combination of common purpose, extraordinary collegiality, and I remember there was a marvelous comment that Hassan Basari made at the 200th. And I think he was speaking for all of us. And he said he got here and he looked around and he thought they must have made a mistake. But he said within a number of weeks he wasn't thinking that way, that he was part of the tradition of this hospital, and I think that we all have that experience.
50 years, they went by in a flash. It seems like yesterday. I arrived here on the 1st of July, 1962. Arrived here when Paul Dudley White was still active. Dr. Ed Bland was in charge. We had many superb mentors, and was suddenly thrown into the fellowship training program. And the individual who interviewed me for the job was Roman DeSanctis. But I wanted to say something about mentors during my time as a cardiac fellow. There were wonderful teaching programs going on. One of my mentors was David Lippman of the Lippman stethoscope, which I have in my pocket. The others were Ed Bland, Conga Williams, Gordon Myers, Charlie Sanders, Rowan DeSanctis, and probably the most important mentor was my wife. Any woman who's married to a doctor has a difficult life. We're never on time, never predictable. We tend to fail to make birthday parties and ballet recitals and whatnot, so it's not easy being a medical wife.
In the first place, one has to admit that you have to be lucky to get here. You know, a certain amount of good luck had to take place in all of this. I was born in Great Falls, Montana, 1927, and I weighed 3 pounds. Not many 3-pounders made it in 1927. I came here as a resident in the orthopedic program in 1957. It was awesome, you know, walking through those halls and knowing the caliber of people who were the faculty leaders was an awesome experience, very exciting. There have been 100 fellows that have trained here specifically in total hip surgery, and they are now professors all around the world. They are a remarkable group of talented folks who have made major contributions to the field, and they are probably my greatest legacy. It's been a very remarkable journey, and one that I would repeat in a minute.
Well, I grew up in New Jersey and went to Columbia Medical School, and I read about the MGH in the New England Journal of Medicine, knew it was a pretty good place, so I thought I'd try for it, and as luck would have it, they decided to take me on. And as we left New York with my wife and one small child and one in the oven, she was a little upset at leaving our families and so forth, and I said, it's an internship, don't worry. It's only for a year. And 55 years later, it was a long year. I won't say it was easy in those house staff years. There wasn't any ACGME standards in those days that said you could only work a few hours and then go home to rest. We came to work at, like if you're on the weekend, Saturday morning, and you left Monday evening without any breather in between. It was hard work, but it was worth it. In large part due to the compassion and consideration of my colleagues, to which I'm forever grateful.
I'm from Cambridge, actually, and rather interestingly, we checked recently that I have never lived more than 5 miles from where I was born. I went to local schools, etc., Harvard College, Harvard Dental, and trained here, and that's it. Never moved. Practiced here. I don't know whether it's credit to my luck, longevity, but I will say that I have had good associates. Both Henry Stempian and Walter Goralnik have been just great over the years. And we still, although the practice is long gone, I still see Henry and I see Walter in the clinic. You ask me when I retired officially, I can't tell you because I sort of phased it out for a while and then quit office practice.
I had an offer to come upstairs to, when I say we were in the basement, go upstairs to purchasing. He said to me, he says, why won't you take this job up here? I said, because I don't know enough about it. You know, what I do, I have an idea what I'm doing. I don't know anything about buying everything for the hospital other than food. He says, well, it's not the people. I said, yeah, it's the people too. He said, well, how many people are working down there? I said, I think there was 8 or 9 when I started. I said, we got 6 now. I don't know why we got 6, but. And he said, do you like them? And I said, yeah, I mean, they're people my age, you know. He said, well, how old are you? I said, I'm 21. No, yeah, I'm 21. He said, so they have to wait till you retire 65 to get ahead? That's how he swung me. That was a brain buster. I had to think about that. And I think I said, okay, I'll try it without, that wasn't what I wanted, you know. He out-talked me. I consider myself very lucky because I mean, I'm not going to say I didn't have disagreements with them, but I had real good people that were over me, working under me, people I had to deal with on the side. They're very good people, and they knew their jobs very well, and I think that's what made it very interesting. But I don't know, I just liked the place.
Medicine builds on itself, and unless you've got the framework and putting on new planks to strengthen what you already have, you lose something. And I think the MGH and the Department of Medicine has kept thus far its configuration and its spirit. As a matter of fact, we liked the work so much that on our nights off, we were all bachelors in those days, and we would go to the emergency ward and pitch in on our nights off. So we enjoyed it, and I consider myself very fortunate to have been here at the MGH, where I've always felt at home, and so I knew that I had a place if I needed help where I could go easily to get it, and where I knew people who were caring and thoughtful and sensitive. And those are qualities that aren't always there together with knowledge. So the nice thing about the MGH is it has all of these qualities available.